Be me 24 years old, living a life painted in shades of beige. Work as a junior data analyst, which is a fancy way of saying I'm a professional spreadsheet wrangler. My job is to stare at numbers until they start to make sense, which they rarely do. My apartment is small, my social life is smaller, and my collection of vintage sci-fi paperbacks is probably my most valuable asset. I'm not unhappy, just uneverything. I exist in a state of perpetual neutrality, a human equivalent of a dial tone. The office is your standard corporate purgatory. Gray cubicles, buzzing fluorescent lights, the constant, low hum of servers and quiet desperation. And then there was her. Let's call her Chloe. Chloe worked in the marketing department, a vibrant splash of color in our monochrome world. She wasn't just pretty, she was luminous. She had this fiery red hair that she always wore in a messy bun, like she had more important things to do than tame it. She dressed in bright colors, wore quirky, mismatched earrings, and had a laugh that could cut through the thickest office tension. She was a supernova, and I was a dust mote floating in her orbit. I was, to put it mildly, intimidated. She was so effortlessly cool, so confident, so alive. In my mind, she was the prom queen, the lead in the school play, the girl who everyone wanted to be or be with. And I was the guy who sat in the back of the class reading Philip K. Dick and hoping not to be noticed. Our interactions were brief and strictly professional. She'd occasionally email me with a request for some data, and I'd reply with a perfectly formatted spreadsheet and a polite but distant sign-off. Sometimes we'd pass in the hallway, and I'd give her a tight-lipped smile and a quick nod, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. I'm pretty sure for the first 6 months, she thought my name was Data Guy. One afternoon, I'm in the break room, trying to fix the coffee machine, which has decided to stage a protest against its miserable existence. I'm elbow-deep in its greasy innards when she walks in. "Having fun?" she asks, her voice laced with amusement. I jump, startled, and bang my head on the overhead cabinet. "Ow," I manage, rubbing the spot. "Just performing some routine maintenance." She giggles, and the sound sends a jolt through my system. "Looks more like a wrestling match. You're losing, by the way." I pull my head out of the machine, defeated. "It's a worthy opponent." "Here, let me," she says, stepping forward. She fiddles with a few buttons, jiggles a lever, and gives the machine a firm whack on its side. It sputters to life, dispensing a stream of dark, murky liquid that only vaguely resembles coffee. "Voila," she says, flashing a triumphant grin. "Sometimes you just need to know the magic touch." "You're a lifesaver," I say, my voice a little breathless. "All in a day's work," she says, pouring herself a cup. "I'm Chloe, by the way." "From marketing." "Anon," I reply. "From spreadsheets," she laughs again, a real genuine laugh this time. "It's nice to officially meet you, Anon from spreadsheets." She takes a sip of her coffee, makes a face, and then dumps it in the sink. "Well, it was a valiant effort. See you around." And with that, she's gone, leaving me standing there with a throbbing head and a racing heart. After that, things change, but only slightly. Our hallway nods are now accompanied by small smiles. Our breakroom encounters occasionally stretch into short, stilted conversations about the weather or the terrible coffee. It's not much, but for me, it's a seismic shift. I start to look forward to these small moments, these brief glimpses into her world. I learn that she's a painter, that she loves hiking, that she has a cat named Ziggy Stardust. Each new piece of information just makes her seem even more impossibly cool, even more out of my league. The project that brings us together is, ironically, a complete and utter disaster. A new client, a huge account, and a mountain of data that needs to be analyzed and turned into a coherent marketing strategy. It's an all-hands-on-deck situation, and our departments are forced to collaborate. And who is assigned as the marketing lead for the project? You guessed it, Chloe. Our first meeting is in a small, windowless conference room that smells of stale air and shattered dreams. I'm there early, my laptop open, my spreadsheets prepped. She walks in a few minutes later, looking flustered, a smudge of ink on her cheek. "Sorry I'm late," she says, dropping a stack of papers on the table. My cat decided my presentation notes were his new favorite chew toy. I manage a small smile. "Ziggy Stardust," her eyes light up. "You remembered." "Of course," I say, and then because my brain is a treacherous bastard, I add, "I'm good with data. Smooth, Anon." Real smooth. The project is a nightmare. The data is a mess, the deadlines are impossible, and the client is a demanding, soulless corporate entity. We're working long hours, fueled by caffeine and a shared sense of impending doom. But as the weeks go by, something unexpected happens. Amidst the chaos and the stress, Chloe and I start to connect. We discover a shared love for bad 80s action movies. We argue about whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It is, and I will die on that hill. I learn that her confident, outgoing exterior is a carefully constructed facade, a mask she wears to navigate the corporate world. She tells me that she's actually an introvert, that she'd rather spend a Friday night at home with her cat and a good book than out at some loud, crowded bar. "People just expect me to be this, life of the party," she confides in me one late night, as we're staring at a particularly frustrating data set. It's exhausting. I tell her about my own anxieties, my fear of public speaking, my tendency to overthink every social interaction. She listens, really listens, without judgment or pity. "You know," she says, her expression thoughtful, "you're not what I thought you were." "What did you think I was?" I ask, my heart doing a little flip-flop. "I don't know," she says, a faint blush on her cheeks. "You were always so quiet and serious. I thought you were, judging me." I'm stunned. "Judging you? Why would I do that?" "Because I'm loud," she says, her voice barely a whisper. "And I'm messy, and I'm not as put together as I pretend to be." "Chloe," I say, my voice soft but firm, "I think you're amazing." The words hang in the air between us, charged with a meaning that goes beyond the confines of our professional relationship. She looks at me, her eyes wide and vulnerable, and for the first time I see her not as the impossibly cool girl from marketing, but as a real person with her own fears and insecurities. The moment is broken by the ping of an incoming email, and we're pulled back into the vortex of our project. But something has shifted, and we both know it. The night of the big presentation, we're both a nervous wreck. We've poured our hearts and souls into this project, and our careers are riding on its success. I'm running on 4 hours of sleep and a dangerous amount of caffeine. Chloe is pacing back and forth in the hallway outside the boardroom, her face pale with anxiety. "What if they hate it?" she whispers, her voice trembling. "What if I mess up?" I step in front of her, gently grabbing her by the shoulders. "Hey," I say, looking her straight in the eye. "We've got this. You've got this. You're going to be brilliant." She takes a deep breath and a small, grateful smile touches her lips. "Thanks, Anon." The presentation is a blur. I handle the data, the numbers, the cold, hard facts. Chloe takes that data and weaves it into a story, a compelling narrative that captivates the clients. She's a natural, a born storyteller, and I watch in awe as she commands the room with a confidence that I now know is hard-won. We're a team, a well-oiled machine, and we nail it. The clients are thrilled, our bosses are ecstatic, and we're the heroes of the hour. That night, a few of us from the team go out to celebrate. We end up at a quiet little bar, a world away from the sterile environment of the office. The mood is jubilant, but I'm exhausted, the adrenaline of the day slowly draining out of me. I find a quiet corner, nursing a beer, and just watch the scene unfold. Chloe is in the center of it all, laughing and joking with our coworkers, the life of the party once again. A wave of my old insecurity washes over me. She's back in her element, surrounded by her people, And I'm back in mine, the quiet observer on the sidelines. I decide to call it a night. I'm slipping out the door when I hear her voice behind me. Hey, where are you going? I turn to see her standing there, a concerned look on her face. Just tired, I say, which is not entirely a lie. It's been a long day. Can I walk with you for a bit? She asks. I need some air. We walk in silence for a few blocks, the cool night air a welcome relief. You were amazing today, I say, finally breaking the silence. Seriously, Chloe, you blew them away. We were amazing, she corrects me, bumping her shoulder against mine. I couldn't have done it without you. We stop at a corner, the streetlights casting a warm glow around us. You know, she says, her voice soft, I was terrified today. If you hadn't been there, I don't think I could have gone through with it. I was terrified too, I admit. But I knew you'd be great. How? She asks, her eyes searching mine. Because I see you, I say, the words coming out before I have a chance to second-guess them. Not the loud, confident marketing girl, but the real you. The one who's a little bit scared and a little bit messy and a whole lot brilliant. She takes a step closer, her hand finding mine. Her fingers are cold, but her touch sends a wave of heat through me. I thought you were out of my league, she whispers, her voice thick with an emotion I can't quite decipher. I let out a short, incredulous laugh. That's funny. I thought the same thing about you. A slow smile spreads across her face, a real, genuine smile that reaches all the way to her eyes. So, she says, her thumb tracing small circles on the back of my hand. We're just a couple of idiots then. Looks that way, I say, my own smile mirroring hers. And then she does something that makes my entire world tilt on its axis. She leans in and kisses me. It's not a movie kiss, not a grand, dramatic moment. It's a soft, gentle kiss, hesitant at first, and then full of a warmth and a tenderness that I never thought I'd experience. When she pulls away, her cheeks are flushed and her eyes are shining. So, she says, her voice a little shaky, what happens now? I take her other hand, my heart so full I think it might burst. I have no idea, I say, my voice filled with a hope and a joy that is entirely new to me. But I can't wait to find out. It's been 3 years since that night. We both left that soulless corporation behind. Chloe started her own small marketing agency, and I'm her in-house data guy. We have a small house in the suburbs, with a little garden and a very spoiled cat named Ziggy. Our life isn't a fairy tale, it's not perfect. We still have our moments of doubt, our insecurities, but we have each other. And we're no longer just two people in a beige office, living beige lives. We're a team. And every day, I'm just so damn grateful for that disastrous project and that broken coffee machine and the fact that we were both so wrong about each other.